Today, our question is from Benjamin Warrington. Benjamin has sent this question in asking all about his tile floor. Any tips on cleaning this floor? It's somewhat clean and shiny, please. Recently moved into the house and no amount of mopping has kept it nice and shiny and clean. If you look at that floor, you can see there's a lot of haziness to it. You can see there's clearly a residue on those tiles. And what can be done? So here at Art of Clean, we've been cleaning floors since 2005. And over these years, I've seen this typical problem. This typical problem on porcelain tiles in particular. So what I have is a porcelain tile here, and you can clearly see the reflection of the light in the tile. Very similar to what you see over there. Quite a nice shiny tile, and the question is, how can I keep that tile so clean? Because many times people like Benjamin has experienced that the tile is nice and clean, but as soon as you start walking over the tile, as soon as you start using that room, that there's suddenly marks and footprints appearing all over these tiles. I've had this many times where we go in, we clean a tile floor, and several weeks later somebody calls up and says, you cleaned my tile a few weeks ago and sadly I see footprints all over it. Though rare, it can happen even after a professional clean. We have done some research over the years because this can sometimes be a real challenge. You've not got any residue on that tile, you clean it really thoroughly, they use the right cleaner, but still you see footprints. Though it's a very rare occurrence, here's what we've learned over the last 15 to 16 years in business. I have discovered that there's different places that makes tiles to a different standard. And many times these tiles that give us this challenge of being streaky, easily grabbing onto dirt and leave footprints behind, is usually a cheaper tile, and many times, though not always, manufactured mainly in China. So here's what I've learned, that sometimes these tiles are made in a machine where the press is not of that high standard that you can see many times in typical places like Italy where high quality tiles are made. It is a very quick process. They try and make it cheaply, and for that reason the quality of the tile suffers. So that leaves you with a surface on the tile that is not as smooth, though it is shiny, and for that reason it can easily grab onto dirt. That's the first reason why you can sometimes find that tiles do not look shiny and they attract soil quickly. In some cases this can happen several years down the line as the tile starts wearing, that it now shows that. And it's extremely difficult to just simply do a test to confirm that because that test just don't exist. So the next reason why, and many times probably more prone to be causing the problem, is the cleaners that people use on these tiles. And that's probably my advice to you, is to turn to the cleaner that you'll use. If you have a problem like this, feel free to email me. Let's talk about it. But the first question I'll ask you is, what cleaner do you use? Here at Art of Clean, we recommend a few things. Once we've cleaned for you, this is what we would recommend you use on your floor. So we've got a neutral tile cleaner here, and this tile cleaner will offer you a neutral clean to the tile, so it would remove everyday grime, but it's not a very aggressive cleaner. It is better to keep a tile clean than let it get so dirty that you then have to get aggressive with it. The reason is you'll strip away those sealants that's been applied to protect the tile. So it's very important that you go for a pH neutral clean, and that's what you'll find here. So this is a neutral cleaner. Alternatively, our friends over at Tile Master makes this brilliant product. So you can see there's a ceramic and porcelain tile cleaner, and this is a brilliant neutral pH product that can also be used for cleaning your floors. There are many other products available that is very suitable for cleaning on tiles and hard surfaces. All I would say is, if you want to find the right product, look for something that's got a neutral pH cleaner. That means the pH is around about the 7 mark. Sometimes a little bit higher, sometimes a tiny bit lower, but I would not go outside of the range of 6.5 to 7.5. That's where you want to be. And then the most important thing is ensure that your mop head is clean. Change it on a regular basis. This microfiber mop head is really brilliant at removing that residue from the surface. And before you get to the cleaning, it's also important to remove the dry soil. So, as in the Pelman kit, you also get the dry mop head. This means you dry mop the floor, removing all dry soil. Alternatively, you can use the vacuum cleaner. Now, vacuum cleaners, like we have the Sevo Duo over there, the Sevo Duo will come with an attachment in the right model for hard floors, and you can then remove that dry soil using a vacuum cleaner before the cleaning happens. Following that, a clean mop head, the right cleaning solution, and make sure that you remove that residue on there. Very important also to follow the dilution rates that's specified for the product. Do not over dilute because your floor is suddenly dirtier, because it will leave residues, and it's many times the residues that you see exactly on a floor like that that cause that streaky marks. What you can try, if you still see all those streaky marks, you can see there on Benjamin's floor, if you clean it and you don't know what to do next, what I would advise is just use a mop and bucket with clean water in there and give the mop a good rinse in the clean water, and then just mop the floor with a dry, a well wrung out mop with just water. That way you remove that residue and you're more likely to have a nice clean floor. Following that, then if that doesn't work, I would say consider that the tile might be the reason. Ask yourself the question, where did I buy these tiles? And go back to the manufacturer and ask them what they would recommend. Otherwise, feel free to give us a call here. We can come out, or you can send us some photos and we can see what we can do to help there.